To my right, I have a very special man that you might have only seen a photograph of before, but he's with me to do an interview with you to give you more in-depth information about an alcalo and what an alcalo is and alcalo documents. So I'd like to introduce you to the alcalo of Casa Kunda, and that is where Jambangeli Estate is, Casa Kunda 1 and also Casa Kunda 2. So I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Adama Jallow, and you are the alcalo for Casa Kunda.
Yeah, my father is the alcalo of Casa Kunda, but I'm doing all the land transfers for him because my father is now every land transfer is doing in the village is done by me.
Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Nagropian. In today's video, I've made a video every single day, perhaps for the last 40 days. I've really been on it lately, I know, and I haven't had a lot of good news to talk about, especially when it comes to the Gambia. So I wanted to take a bit of time out and talk about a few of the unsung heroes, the people who we at first might perhaps associate them with Blaxit. Well, why wouldn't we? They work with Blaxit. Some of them are best friends with Blaxit. Some of them have actually vouched for her. But what about those people who turn their backs on Blaxit once they realize the unethical practices that they practice at their organization? I have spoken about many people who have been associated with Blaxit, but the reality is this: not all of them are bad people. Some of them are good people who manage to associate themselves with the wrong person, and it's still okay for those people to make a change, and it's good. Some of them depend more on Blaxit than they care to, and they don't actually have a choice. They have to stay with her, they have to work with her. But for other people, they have realized what Blaxit was quite early on, and they managed to distance themselves over a certain period of time. In today's video, we're going to talk about one such person. I'm not sure if I should call him a hero, but I will definitely call him somebody who perhaps got caught up with the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time. We're going to have a good conversation now about Mr. Jallow and my thoughts on him and his arrest. But first, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon. Link in the description. I'd also like to invite you to please follow the Oversight channel, the channel that is there to help you to invest on the African continent both safely and securely. Link also in the description. So who is Mr. Jallow? Mr. Jallow is a former school teacher who just happened to own quite a lot of land. This was family land passed down to him from generation to generation, and his family has put him in charge of this land, of distributing it and making sure that it's put a good use and that the wealth can be used to further benefit the family as a whole. I'm not sure who contacted who first, but I would pretty much make the assumption that it was Blaxit that made the first contact to Mr. Jallow. I think Mr. Jallow just had a lot of land, and he was in a situation where he could sell some of it and make it work, not just for him, but for his entire family. Now, guys, listen, not all Gambians are good. I know that. But if you've been to the Gambia and you meet a lot of people, just ask yourself a question. Are these people good-hearted people? Are they people with integrity? I know that there was one guy that I met in the Gambia, and I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. But the majority of the people that I met, I knew there was something good inside their hearts. African people in a small country, in a sort of clichéic sort of manner, right? But it is true. They are so good. It's the vibes that you get whilst you are there. A lot of people mistake those good-hearted pleasantries for weakness. And I think this is where Blaxit and Art Cathy and all those other diasporans who have come back to the Gambia to sort of muscle their way into society, I think that's why they think they can do these types of things. Definitely the style of a TOUBAB to me. Mr. Jallow was arrested not long ago. Now, the exact details of his arrest we don't know, but we know it's because of his association with Blaxit. Now, I'm not sure who was trying to enforce which laws. Maybe somebody made a complaint. So who have those complaints been directed to? Well, they've been directed to Blaxit herself. So how has she managed to handle things? Well, Blaxit has simply been deflecting the blame of all these problems back onto Mr. Jallow, of course. The landowner, the person who the money would have gone to in the first place. And this is where the really starts to hit the fan for Mr. Jallow. Because Mr. Jallow, all he was planning to do was try and sell his land. He went through Blaxit as an agent. He collected the money from the people directly because you have to do it that way. They can't go through Blaxit. This is ingenious. Now Blaxit gets her money from Mr. Jallow and all the blame, all the responsibility, all that falls onto Mr. Jallow. So she can walk away from the problem scot-free and simply tell those people who have the problems with the delayed Akalo papers or the orientation of the land being wrong. She can simply say, hey, speak to the landowner, speak to the person who you bought it off. You didn't buy it off me. I'm simply the agent in between. I made my money. Now I'm going to move away. Guys, I've been telling you now for months and months, do not do any deals through Blaxit or through anybody else who aren't registered estate agents. Those people who are registered, at least they have some form of responsibility. They have people watching over them. So they can't just get rid of their responsibility and say, well, it's not up to us. The reason they are licensed is because they know exactly what to do in these situations. So Mr. Jallow, I have a strong feeling that he is innocent of any wrongdoings. I believe that he's been arrested, but I believe that the person who may be pulling the strings behind this arrest, the person who's trying to make all this fall into the lap of Mr. Jallow, I'll give you two guesses, but you'll only need one. I think Blaxit is the person who's probably responsible for Mr. Jallow's arrest. I think she's trying to offload all the blame onto Mr. Jallow. I believe she is cooperating with the police against Mr. Jallow to make sure that she can step out of the arena and allow Mr. Jallow to take the fall. I have no proof of this, but I have very good feelings. And guys, you know your gut. I've got to go with my gut with this one, guys, because I really wanted to talk about this tonight. I have a strong feeling that Mr. Jallow has been made the fall guy in. I wonder which police station Mr. Jallow got arrested to. I wonder which one. I would really like to know the answer to that question, because if it's the same police station that Blaxit knows her, because if it's the same police station that Blaxit has her contacts, well guys, I know you guys don't like me making up stories, but bloody hell, come on. You would have to be an idiot to not see what's going on. So guys, I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say about this. Do you think Mr. Jallow is innocent? Do you think he's guilty? Do you think that Blaxit is conspiring to make sure that he takes the fall for all the problems that have happened? Let me know in the comment section below. It'd be really good to hear your opinion on this. So guys, that's all I got time for today. I'd like to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my patrons. Until the next time, please think twice. TOUBABS.
If you could just reassure people that are wondering, who are maybe abroad, and they want to invest in a piece of land here, and maybe they want to buy it before they come. We got to say thank you to Mr. Jallow for investing in Blaxit as well. It's been a two-way process, and I can't thank you enough for enabling us to own property here in Africa at an affordable price when some people aren't so charitable. Thank you, Mr. Jallow.
Thank you. No problem.